What if everything Gilead built was standing on a single lie? A lie so dangerous that if the truth ever escaped, an empire built on fear, obedience, and silence could begin falling apart from the inside. Season 1 left us with shocking discoveries, painful choices, and questions that still have no answers. But now, with the Testaments officially returning for Season 2, fans are asking one important question. What is the secret that could change everything? The answer may not come from a powerful commander or an army ready for war. Instead, it may come from people Gilead never expected to fight back. And if that happens, the future of this brutal regime may never be the same again. The first season of The Testaments proved that this story is much more than a continuation of The Handmaid's Tale. While the original series focused on survival inside Gilead, this new chapter shifts attention toward a younger generation that has grown up believing Gilead's rules are normal. They have been taught that obedience is strength, that questions are dangerous, and that the system always knows what is best. But as Season 1 moved forward, those beliefs slowly began to crack. Small moments of doubt turned into larger discoveries, and those discoveries may become the foundation of Season 2. One of the biggest reasons fans are so excited is because the next season no longer needs to spend time introducing its world. The first season carefully established the major characters, explained their relationships, and revealed how life inside Gilead truly works. Now those foundations are in place. That gives the writers the perfect opportunity to move the story into much darker and more suspenseful territory. Every secret that has been quietly building beneath the surface now has the chance to explode. At the center of everything are Agnes and Daisy. Although they have lived completely different lives, fate continues pulling them toward the same dangerous path. Agnes has spent most of her life inside Gilead. She understands its rules, its traditions, and the fear that controls every decision. Daisy, on the other hand, represents a completely different perspective. She has experienced a world outside Gilead's walls, allowing her to question things that many inside the regime simply accept without hesitation. As these two young women continue learning more about themselves, they also begin uncovering truths that powerful people have worked very hard to hide. Every answer they discover creates even more questions. Why were certain facts hidden from them? Who benefits from keeping those secrets buried? And perhaps the biggest question of all, what happens if the truth finally reaches the people of Gilead? That possibility may become the driving force behind Season 2. Throughout history, authoritarian governments have relied on controlling information. Fear alone is rarely enough to keep power forever. Real control comes from deciding what people are allowed to know. The moment ordinary citizens begin questioning the stories they have always believed, even the strongest systems can begin falling apart. That idea has always existed beneath the surface of this franchise, but now it feels more important than ever. Another reason the upcoming season feels so exciting is the growing role of Aunt Lydia. She remains one of the most fascinating characters in the entire universe because nobody can fully predict her next move. Sometimes she appears completely loyal to Gilead. Other times, subtle moments suggest that she understands the system's flaws better than anyone else. Season 1 hinted that there may be far more happening beneath her calm and disciplined appearance than viewers first realized. If Season 2 continues exploring her complicated motivations, she could become one of the most unpredictable players in the story. She possesses knowledge that very few people have. She understands how Gilead operates behind closed doors, how its leaders think, and where its greatest weaknesses might be hiding. That makes her incredibly valuable to both sides of the conflict. The first season also reminded viewers that danger inside Gilead does not always arrive through violence. Sometimes the greatest threat comes from a conversation, a forgotten document, or a memory that refuses to stay hidden. Information can become more powerful than any weapon because once people learn the truth, it becomes almost impossible to force them back into ignorance. That simple idea could define everything that happens next. As Season 2 begins taking shape, one possibility stands above all the others. The secret teased throughout the story may not simply expose corruption. It may reveal something capable of changing how every major character sees Gilead forever. If that happens, friendships will be tested, loyalties will collapse, and impossible choices will become unavoidable. And judging by everything Season 1 has already established, the biggest surprises may still be waiting just ahead. As Season 2 moves forward, the biggest question is no longer whether Gilead has enemies. Everyone already knows that resistance exists. The real mystery is whether those enemies are finally close enough to expose the truth that Gilead has spent years trying to bury. Every powerful regime has one weakness. It can control people with fear for a while, but it cannot hide the truth forever. Sooner or later, someone begins asking the wrong questions. And when enough people start searching for answers, everything begins to change. That idea could become the heart of Season 2. The first season planted small clues that not everything inside Gilead is as perfect as its leaders claim. Certain characters started noticing strange events that didn't make sense. Others found themselves questioning rules they had followed without hesitation for years. At first, those moments seemed small, but together, they may be building towards something much larger. Sometimes a revolution does not begin with a battle. It begins with a single question that nobody can answer. Agnes may find herself standing at the center of that change. Throughout the first season, she followed the path that Gilead had chosen for her. She tried to do what was expected, believing it was the only way to survive. But every new discovery has slowly changed the way she sees the world. She has started realizing that the people making the rules are not always following those same rules themselves. That realization alone is enough to shake anyone's confidence. Season 2 could push Agnes into situations where remaining silent is no longer an option. She may have to choose between protecting herself or protecting people she has come to trust. Every decision will carry consequences, and in Gilead, even one mistake can destroy an entire future. That constant pressure is what makes her journey so compelling. She is not simply fighting against dangerous people, she is fighting against years of fear that have shaped the way she thinks. Meanwhile, Daisy enters the story with a completely different advantage. Because she has seen life beyond Gilead, she understands that another world is possible. She knows that people can live without constant control, forced obedience, and endless fear. That knowledge gives her strength, but it also places her in incredible danger. The more she learns about her connection to Gilead, the more important she becomes to everyone involved in the conflict. What makes the relationship between Agnes and Daisy so interesting is that neither of them can succeed alone. Agnes understands the system from the inside. Daisy understands life outside its walls. Together, they possess pieces of a puzzle that neither could solve by themselves. As their trust grows, so does the danger surrounding them. Every conversation, every secret meeting, and every hidden discovery increases the risk that someone will uncover what they are doing. Another character who could play an even larger role is Aunt Lydia. By the end of the first season, it became clear that she knows far more than she chooses to reveal. Her words often carry hidden meanings, and her actions rarely tell the complete story. That uncertainty keeps both the audience and the other characters guessing. Is she protecting Gilead, or is she quietly preparing for the day when everything changes? If there is one person capable of exposing Gilead's deepest secrets, Aunt Lydia may be the strongest candidate. She has spent years inside the highest levels of the regime. She has witnessed decisions that ordinary citizens will never know about. She understands the weaknesses hidden beneath Gilead's carefully crafted image. But knowledge alone is not enough. The real question is whether she is willing to use it. Season 2 could also explore growing divisions among Gilead's own leaders. Authoritarian systems often appear united from the outside, but behind closed doors, power struggles are almost always taking place. Different commanders may have different visions for the future. Some may believe the current system should become even harsher, while others may fear that excessive control is creating more enemies than loyal followers. Those internal conflicts could become just as dangerous as the resistance itself. When leaders stop trusting one another, mistakes become more common. Secrets become harder to protect. Information begins leaking through unexpected places. And once those cracks appear, they rarely disappear again. Perhaps the most exciting possibility is that the mysterious secret teased throughout the story is connected to Gilead's very foundation. What if the beliefs used to justify the regime were built on lies? What if the people sacrificing everything for Gilead eventually discover they were manipulated from the beginning? That kind of revelation would not simply shock a few characters. It could completely transform the future of the entire nation. By the time Season 2 reaches its biggest turning points, Every character may be forced to answer the same difficult question. Is protecting the truth worth risking everything they have ever known? Because once that secret finally comes into the light, there may be no way to stop the consequences from spreading across Gilead. As the story continues, one thing becomes increasingly clear. The greatest danger to Gilead may not come from an outside invasion or a powerful military attack. Instead, it could come from ordinary people who are no longer willing to believe the lies they have been told. History has shown that even the strongest governments can begin to fall when the truth spreads faster than fear. That possibility makes Season 2 feel more intense than ever before. One of the biggest strengths of the Testaments has always been its focus on personal choices instead of giant battles. Every character faces moments where a single decision can completely change their future. Should they remain silent to stay safe, or should they risk everything to help someone else? Those difficult choices create suspense because there are no easy answers. Every path comes with a heavy price. For Agnes, that pressure is only becoming stronger. She has already started seeing the darker side of the society she once trusted. The rules she accepted without question now seem filled with contradictions. People who speak about honor often hide terrible secrets. Those who demand absolute loyalty are sometimes the first to betray others. As Agnes begins connecting these pieces together, she may realize that the greatest threat is not simply one corrupt leader. It is an entire system built on fear and deception. Daisy's journey is equally important because she represents hope from outside Gilead's walls. She refuses to accept that the regime is unstoppable. Instead, she believes that every system has weaknesses, and those weaknesses can be exposed if enough people are brave enough to search for the truth. Her determination could inspire others who have spent years feeling powerless. But inspiring people inside Gilead is incredibly dangerous because hope itself can become an act of rebellion. Season 2 may also introduce even greater challenges for the growing resistance. Escaping danger once is difficult enough, but continuing to operate in secret becomes harder with every passing day. Trust becomes a rare and valuable thing. Nobody can be completely certain who is truly loyal and who may secretly be working for Gilead. One wrong conversation or one careless decision could destroy years of careful planning. That atmosphere of uncertainty is what makes the series so gripping. Every new ally could become a future enemy. Every quiet conversation could be overheard. Every hidden document could become the evidence that changes everything. The audience is constantly left wondering who can actually be trusted, and that feeling is likely to become even stronger in the new season. At the same time, the leaders of Gilead may begin noticing that something is changing beneath the surface. Small acts of disobedience that once seemed isolated could slowly grow into a larger movement. The regime has always relied on complete control, but control becomes much harder when people stop believing the stories they are told. Fear can silence voices for a while, but it cannot erase curiosity forever. Another fascinating possibility is the return of familiar faces connected to The Handmaid's Tale. The first season reminded viewers that the events of both series exist in the same world. That connection opens the door for more surprises in Season 2. Characters whose actions shaped the past could still influence the future, even if they are no longer standing at the center of the story. Their experiences, sacrifices, and unfinished missions may continue guiding the next generation as the fight against Gilead grows even more dangerous. Fans are also eager to see how Aunt Lydia's role develops. She remains one of the most unpredictable characters because every action seems to carry a hidden purpose. At times, she appears completely devoted to protecting Gilead. At other moments, her expressions and decisions suggest she understands that the system cannot survive forever. Whether she becomes a protector of the regime or a key figure in its downfall remains one of the biggest mysteries heading into Season 2. What makes this uncertainty so exciting is that nobody can confidently predict her next move. She has access to secrets that almost no one else knows. She understands the strengths and weaknesses of Gilead better than anyone. If she ever decides to reveal what she knows, the consequences could be enormous. A single truth coming from someone in her position could shake the confidence of people who have supported the regime for years. By the second half of the season, every hidden secret, Every broken promise and every difficult choice could begin colliding at the same time. The characters may finally realize that changing Gilead is no longer just a dream. It has become a real possibility, but achieving that goal will demand courage, sacrifice, and painful decisions that could change their lives forever. And as those pieces begin falling into place, the story may deliver some of the most emotional and suspenseful moments the franchise has ever seen. As we look ahead to The Testament Season 2, one thing feels impossible to ignore. The battle for Gilead is no longer just about survival. It is becoming a battle for the truth. Every secret that has remained hidden, every lie that has protected the regime, and every choice made by Agnes, Daisy, and Aunt Lydia could lead to one unforgettable turning point. If the biggest mystery of the story is finally revealed, the consequences could reach every corner of Gilead. People who once followed the rules without question may begin seeing the system for what it really is. Longtime allies could become enemies, while unexpected heroes may rise from places no one expected. That is exactly what makes Season 2 so exciting. The future is no longer certain, and every episode has the potential to completely change the direction of the story. What makes this series stand out is that its greatest weapon has never been violence. It has always been knowledge. Once the truth begins spreading, fear loses its power. And if Gilead can no longer control what people believe, its strongest walls may start collapsing from within. For now, Hulu is keeping many details under wraps, but the pieces are clearly falling into place. The first season introduced the players. Season 2 now has the chance to raise the stakes, answer long-awaited questions, and deliver some of the biggest twists this franchise has ever seen. If the story follows the path fans are expecting, the secret tease throughout the series could become the spark that changes everything. What do you think will happen in The Testament Season 2? Will the truth finally bring Gilead to its knees, or will the regime find another way to hold on to power? Share your predictions in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss our latest updates. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.